Good morning. This is a public meeting of the Indiana Arts Commission, Region 8 Arts Project Support Fiscal Year 20 Grants Panel. I'm Jan Mills, Chair of the Board of Trustees for the Region 8 Arts Partner, the Brown County Community Foundation from Nashville, Indiana. Today is May 4th, and we're meeting by conference call and streaming live from a webinar. We welcome applicants who may be listening in today and would like to remind you that you are muted for this review. There is no direct contact or conversation about the evaluation and disposition of applications before, during, or after the panel meeting. At this time, we would like the panelists and staff to introduce themselves, stating their name, occupation, and where they are from in the state. Bill, would you start, please?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Pilot. I am a board member for the Martinsville Arts Council, Martinsville, Indiana. Full-time employed at Eli Lilly and Company in Indianapolis.
I'm Bob Burnett, and I am an arts administrator. I've been involved with different organizations for over 35 years, and I currently live in Indianapolis, Indiana.
I'm Pam Hurst, owner of the Sterling Butterfly Art Store on the Square in Martinsville. Also a board member with Rediscover Martinsville, our Main Street organization, and live in Martinsville.
I'm Sarah Carroll. I professionally work for Indiana University, doing financial management for the Luddy School of Informatics and Computing. I also am a financial manager for a NASA-funded computer company startup. I'm a brand ambassador for Spark Leatherworks out of Indianapolis, and I am an aerial silks artist here in Bloomington with Aeriology.
Hi, I'm Megan Hutchison, and I'm the previous Development Director for Lotus Education and Arts Foundation, and involved in other local nonprofits in Monroe County.
Staff, will you begin your introductions, please?
Sure. I'm Chapin. There we go. I realized my video wasn't on. Chapin Schnick. I'm going to be hanging out here. I work for the Arts Commission for any technical support.
And I'm Paige Sharp, Deputy Director of Programs for the Indiana Arts Commission. Did we lose Larry?
He's muted.
Can you introduce yourself, Larry? We also have Larry Peugeot on, who is the Regional Arts Partner for Region 8. Go ahead, Jan.
Now we'll begin the panel review. This is how the process will work. I will announce the application we will review and ask the first reader to begin the discussion. The first reader will provide their assessment of the application based upon the evaluation criteria and their perspective. Panelists, please note that the applications do not need to be recapped since everyone has read it. Just provide your comments. After the first reader is finished, I will ask the second reader to present any new, additional, or opposing comments. We're not looking for consensus, just a full evaluation from the different perspectives panelists bring to the table. After the second reader has finished, I will open the discussion for final comments. Remember, in the interest of time, we are only looking for new, additional, or opposing viewpoints. If a panelist has a conflict of interest, that panelist will be placed on hold while the application is reviewed. However, there are no conflicts of interest on this panel. Finally, once the application has been reviewed by the full panel, we ask the panel to update their scores on the online system. It is common for scores to change as a result of this broader discussion. Those scores save automatically. Are there any questions? If not, let's begin. We'll start with the application from Bloomington Early Music Festival. The first reader is Sarah Carroll. Sarah?
Hey, okay. So strength of this proposal was certainly the planning and their collaborations by focusing on the Lilly Library's Latin American music manuscripts during the year of its 60th anniversary, I believe, and reopening. So that's a very smart way of using the marketing or publicity that that organization will already be doing to help draw attention to this project. So that was well played. They also showed that they certainly listened to their audience. They noted that they know that the Bloomington music audience enjoys a challenge, and then they went into how they engage their dedicated, audience. And something I thought was a little short, though, was regarding community engagement. It seemed short on measuring success. That's something I would ask this applicant to focus on, finding measures that will work best for them to get some data that they can use to keep improving this project in the future.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. The second reader, Megan Hutchinson. Megan?
Okay, I'm off mute. I would say that I agreed with Sarah there on all the collaborations, and I did notice that they had selected that they had a GuideStar profile, but that's active, but when I checked it, it's actually very outdated from 2008, so they might want to check that. And then there was no evaluation plan in the section where they were supposed to talk about that. And then I also noticed that as far as diversity goes, all of the 4 project leaders they mentioned are men. So they might consider that moving forward with their festival. And then in regards to their project management, I'm surprised that I didn't see any other promotion related activity in their timeline other than social media. Maybe that's all they're doing, but I was surprised I didn't see more as far as marketing and promotion. And then I just had kind of more of a question, and this is kind of more technical, but the application says it does not have a fiscal sponsor for the project, but in their budget form, they have a line that says they have over 35,000 in fiscal sponsorship. But that could just be something for the entire organization and not the festival, but that might be something that needs to be clarified. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Megan. Any new, additional, or opposing comments from any of the other panelists?
I had one, this is Pam, I had one comment, and it's more of a possible for future grant application. A couple of the links were through the IU system, and not having an IU logon, I just, without setting up a whole account, couldn't get to them. I don't know if it was just the way my computer was going through or not, but an easier access to that kind of stuff would help.
Thank you, Pam. Anyone else? If not, then please finalize your scores and update your online comments, and let me know if you need more time. Is everyone ready to move on? All right, we'll begin then with the Midway Music Speaks. Pam Hurst is the first reviewer.
Yes, this is Midway Music Speaks, the music festival for gender equality. I felt the project explanation was really strong. It was well thought out, exposing everyone to several different music types and artists with free and paid events so that community engagement can be large. Their survey and feedback would come from artists and attendees. I think they had a very strong board with good leadership and a great project plan here. I think it was a very strong application. The only, I guess, extra comment I would put on it is to somehow get, I didn't feel the survey or the feedback or response to improve in the future could be a little more specific, and especially from attendees and what other things they'd like to see. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Pam. The second reader is Bob Burnett. Bob?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, good, because I've lost my video connection, so I apologize. I just wanted to, let's see, with the, this is on the Midway. Hold on a second, I got a little discombobulated because I lost you all. Just wanted to, let's see, I found that the selection of artists is diverse and inclusive. There were a range of artistic qualities and evidence, as well as different genre for music throughout the three-day festival. And I appreciated that they were listening to their artists, their volunteers, and their audience members with regard to changes in the programming. They were changing it from the Artist Mingle last year to a summit this year. And the timing seems to better serve all sectors of their participants and audience. The marketing seems professional, but I'm not clear as to the effectiveness of the social media. And I found that one of the things that they aren't reflecting is that the planning should be a year-round process. And I suspect that they're doing that, but it's not necessarily identified. And then with regard to the financials, they're not out of line, but I would encourage them to take a look at their cost centers and making sure they've got a pretty significant amount in the miscellaneous for the festival. And I'm sure that those really would fall into some of their standard accounts. And those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Bob. Any new, additional, or opposing views from the other panelists?
I would just like to say, in agreement with Bob, seconding that the project timeline was pretty troubling, and actually the project management in general for this proposal was a sore spot. The mission was strong, the goals were strong. It's a very unique idea, you know, but the project timeline was a 4-month span, and it started with, I believe, promotional materials or something like that. No mention of, in the project description, they had mentioned that they start speaking with different members of the music community to decide and select artists, but that very critical component of planning this project didn't even appear on that timeline. So it just seemed to me like it's a strong proposal and probably a solid team, but maybe they should take their documentation of that project management a bit more seriously.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? If not, then please finalize your scores and update your online comments and let me know if you need more time. I can't see the scoring that you're doing, so I'm just going to start. And if I'm not giving you adequate time, please somebody just raise your hand in the video or something and I'll know to wait. We'll move then to Morgan County Community Concert Association. Bill Pilot, you are the first and only reviewer on this.
Hey, last name is Pilot, by the way. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, so the Morgan County Community Concerts application. So it's clear that they bring sort of national, regional touring artists to Morgan County, and they seem to be, from the materials, to be pretty high quality artists. The comment that I would have, though, is sort of a couple of things. First of all, they seem to define sort of their community as being the entire county. So I'm kind of curious sort of how they think about community needs and how that informs the artist selection that they have and that they bring to Morgan County. Because there was not very much in the proposal around sort of the feedback that is gathered from the community, how the community is involved in sort of their the choices they make, whether what that process is, or whether there are meetings throughout the year to select that, or if this is something simply done with the booking agency that they use. So I do think that more feedback or more information on that, as far as helping us understand sort of how the community is involved in their artistic choices, I think would make it a stronger proposal. Yeah, I think that's sort of the major gap that I see in the proposal.
Thanks very much, Bill. Any other panelists with any other additional or opposing comments?
Hi. Oh, can you guys hear me? This is Megan.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that I thought was good was they were doing outreach to different ages, from young people to those in assisted living facilities, and that they're thinking about accessibility. So that's really good. I do think that it would be great to see more kind of interactive opportunities, or to explain, how they're doing more of that community engagement work rather than just a more passive experience. And then as far as the project management goes, I couldn't find the balance sheet in the financial documents. And then there was no information about the relevant experience of the lead project manager in the application. And let's see if I had anything else. And then just in general, it would be great to learn how their past experience is informing their future decisions and their decisions for the coming year.
Thank you, Megan. Anyone else on the panel?
I just have a quick note. This is Sarah Carroll. The artists have already been chosen for their coming project, and they listed them and said they were diverse and said they were high quality, but they didn't show us that or explain, even what the artists do that makes them the reason that they were booked. This was a potential opportunity to increase their audience. I mean, I know we're not a huge panel of people, but I can say that certainly serving on this panel for the last few years, I have become an advocate for a lot more arts organizations and projects here in Indiana because of what I learned just through these readings. So this was a little bit of a missed opportunity for them by not telling us about these artists and expressing the quality that they are bringing. I don't know what I'll be missing if I don't attend.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have one final comment that in the community engagement aspect, I think if they had a more developed marketing plan to get the word out about these concerts and availability of them and artists, it would make for just stronger event and stronger application.
Thank you, Pam. Are we ready to finalize scores and update your online comments? If so, take a few minutes, please, and let me know if you need more time. All right, we will move on to the Art Alliance of Greater Bloomington. The first reader is Megan Hutchinson. Megan.
Okay, so I thought that the goals of the Artbeat program are pretty clear. They have had some time under their belts and they've gotten a positive response to warrant this further support of their venue, and they're finding that people are using their space, so they're needing our support. The Alliance said that they do not jury any of the projects in the space, and they say they maintain a standard of quality in all it presents. And so I was left with wanting to know what the board's standard of quality is. I thought that the photo they provided was an excellent example of their community engagement, working with people from all walks of life. As far as the community engagement and idea, I thought that they are doing a great job of surveying and talking to the participants in their programs and internally as a member-based organization. It was great to see partnerships like Endright Center next door, but it would also be good to receive input from other groups and orgs that serve people they're trying to reach and aren't currently participating in their programs. And then their social media engagement, it was pretty good for a small organization, I found. In the project management, I was a little confused because they mentioned a dance floor for the first time, and I wasn't sure if this is integral to their project that they're asking for support from. It was the first time this was mentioned, and there's nothing in the budget about it. And I was this is the project timeline where I was expecting a lot more. I wanted to see things like, what are the target dates for all these dance workshops, concert, writing, visual arts programs? When are the meetings with all the partner organizations happening? When are the artist agreements and meetings happening? What's the promotion schedule? What's the evaluation schedule? And then the last thing I'll note is that as far as the payment to teaching artists and payment to musical artists, they seemed very high for this market. So they might look and see if there's a way to expand that out to get more workshops from the artists they're working with.
Okay, thank
That's all
you.
I've got.
Thank you. The second reader is Pam Hurst. Pam?
Yeah, I agree with Megan on everything she said. A few things that I noted were in the project management and a little more specific timeline and specific items. Just a little more detail there would make it better and easier to understand. And then the other thing was on feedback. They did note that they, you know, get feedback from their artists and then verbal feedback from attendees. And, you know, maybe they could implement a way to capture email lists or something to get some feedback that they could actually document and track for historical purposes and research. So those were my additional comments.
Thank you, Pam. Are there any additional or opposing comments from other panelists?
I just have one little more in-depth observation. Bloomington has one of the, you know, the highest concentration of artists in the state of Indiana. And I felt like that reflected in the images that we saw, there wasn't a great deal of diversity. Bloomington itself, I know that the community is one thing and then the university is another. But it seems to me that with its location at a Simon Mall, that is a part of where there is an awful lot of traffic. It seems to me that there should be an opportunity to engage more of that or a broader cross-section of the artists, because I felt it looked very, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it was of that specific, you know, county, not so much a broad range of artists, but that, so I would just encourage them to really take a look at how do they diversify the artists that participate in the program. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Any additional comments?
Hi, this is Paige. I just wanted to make a little clarification. It looks like the application summary does include the word dance, and so does, it occurs in just once in the information about the project.
Hi, Paige. I was referring to the dance floor that they are going to install.
I thought that was in there. It said Artbeat offers a large dance floor. Okay, got you. So thank you.
They're putting in they want to put in a cement floor, they say.
Oh.
So that was a surprise.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any additional comments? If not, please finalize your scores and update your online comments and let me know if you need more time. All right, we'll move on to the First Chance Center, and Bob Burnett, you are the first reader.
This appears to be a successful project for providing studio art programs for adults with different abilities, giving the participants access to the creative process in a range of mediums. The instructors have significant experience in their specific mediums and working with people with a broad range of intellectual and physical abilities. That they indicate that there are 50 clients that receive direct benefit from this program, but I would encourage them to think about the broader reach that they have with the family and friends and what happens actually in the community, because I do think that their impact is probably a lot more significant than they're reflecting there. Again, this is a very valuable program for Orange County. I would like to see a specific budget for the art studio. It's difficult to get a clear financial picture looking at the audit for the entire county agency. The marketing materials were okay, but I'm interested to know if they use any digital platforms to share what they are doing with the broader community. Excuse me for licking my finger. Pardon me. I think that seems to be it.
Thank you, Bob. The second reader is Sarah Carroll. Sarah.
Hey, an additional comment I'd like to make is just that regarding community engagement, although this organization directly serves an underrepresented group, there doesn't seem to be any additional effort to connect with an audience of other groups, and that's a way of diversifying their participants. They could try to be generating new collaborations or make special accommodations to facilitate more participation from other groups, organizations, could be younger people, like there's success with intergenerational programming with programs like this. So just something for them to consider. But otherwise, I thought it was really great that they take such care to find artists who are skilled, but also have the talent to connect with their clients, because that is what makes it a truly enriching experience. And so I wanted to give them credit for that as well.
Thank you, Sarah. Any additional new or opposing comments from any other panelists? All right, if not, please finalize your scores, update your online comments, and let me know if you need more time. We'll move on then to the USA International Harp Competition. Bill Pilot, you are the first reader.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so this is a grant request for the USA International Harp Competition, not for the competition itself, but for a concert series that kind of surrounds the event. There are 3 events planned, 2 of which are in Indiana, one in Indianapolis and one in Bloomington. The first thing is, to me, what impressed me is just, bringing such world-class, talent to our region, to Indiana, I think is fabulous. But what I saw were, while there are some efforts to involve younger audiences and lower income audiences in these programs, what I'd love to see more is, how have they taken things like the Harp Start program, or some of the feedback that they've received from prior seasons, and sort of adapted their concert series to sort of make it connect, I think, more with the community. My suspicion is they probably have done that, but I'd love to sort of hear those examples, understand sort of how that process works. They've been doing the competitions, I think, for 11 years. So they've built some pretty, I think, strong experience in how to do this. But, I do think there's that opportunity there to sort of connect more with the communities and understand sort of what they want. I'd love to hear how the Harp Start kind of connects together with the concert series, and sort of, a little bit more. But yeah.
All right, thank you, Bill. We don't have a second reader for this grant this morning, so are there additional comments or new comments from the other panelists, please?
Yes, this is Megan. I'm in the idea section, and they mentioned something about that they give compensated tickets. Somehow it's connected to their Harp Start program, but I wasn't sure who exactly those were going to and how that fits in with their community engagement goals. And then I also, there's as far as project management goes, there's no staff currently in place, but there are plans to hire staff that would manage this project. And in the timeline of activities, they had a sample of their activities, but the time aspect was missing. So there was no information about when everything would occur. And the development committee is very focused on talking with community members about concerts that are desired, but it would be really good to see some intentional efforts to bring harp music to new audiences outside of who they already reach. And then one thing I noticed in their in their marketing materials. The concert that was in Bloomington was in our hall, which is in an IU campus building, which is pretty inaccessible to most community members. And then the other two concerts for this program are in Chicago and Indianapolis. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the Indy was not in Region 8 in Chicago. So they're asking for $5,000 for this one concert. So I would just want to make sure that the program is accessible to community members.
Thank you, Megan. Other comments? All right, if not, please finalize your scores and update your online comments and let me know if you need more time. All right, we'll move on to the Area 10 Agency on Aging. Pam Hurst is the first reader.
Get myself unmuted here. They service Monroe and Owen counties with aging, and they provide transportation, meals, and opportunities to seniors, artistic opportunities, and their project specifically is asking to enhance their music programming, that they've gotten great feedback, that they'd like to lift that to the next level, which I thought was excellent. I sometimes even in regular programming get the beginner level all great, but then to push people to that want to grow a little bit more. So I think that project opportunity is great. And I would like, I couldn't tell exactly like how much performances publicly they do outside of their, so maybe a little bit more detail. I mean, it says they have performances, but I didn't understand, you know, is it once a month, once a year, just a little more detail so I understand further how it operates. And looks like they have good community engagement, good feedback with surveys. They have a strong history here and kind of planning to go by from what they've done in the past. So overall, it was a great application with just a few tweaks. Thanks.
Thank you, Pam. Bob Burnett, second reader, please.
Just a point of clarification, my understanding is that this is actually for a series of art and music lessons, and it's for the people who are their clients who actually are in their facilities. So it's primarily for those seniors, and they do have outreach programs that affect the community, but it's primarily within their own organization and service facilities. The one thing I would just point out is that I really liked their jam sessions, the opportunity for young people to interact with these older adults. I loved watching the video and seeing that interaction. And I just felt like that's a huge investment in their community and in the future, and developing a strong respect and rapport between generations. So that's the one thing that really stood out for me. I just think overall they're really a well-organized group and well-managed. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
I want to come back here. I just realized I skipped a little section here, and they did specify out exactly when their choir performances were. So just want to take back that comment.
Thank you, Pam. Any additional comments or other views on this application, please?
Yeah, Sarah Carroll, regarding the community engagement aspect, kind of seconding Bob's comment with the intergenerational jam sessions. Initially, it appears to have been a collaboration with Harmony School, but because it was so successful, they're looking to expand it to include other schools and even homeschooled students. And I just wanted to credit this organization for being such a great example of climbing that Indiana Arts Commission engagement ladder, you know, building on collaborations, developing relationships, and really taking what is a arts program for their clients, which this isn't the only applicant that does this sort of thing, but showing that if you take this diversity and inclusion and access initiative seriously, you can really help expand and help your program bloom, you know.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? All right, if not, please finalize your scores and update your online comments and let me know if you need more time. We will go to Forgotten Clefs Incorporated, please. Megan Hutchinson is the first reader.
Okay. So I thought that this application was really thoughtful in thinking about last year's experiences and how that has played into their planning for this year's. They're adapting their efforts to fit their partner needs, like the Boys and Girls Club, changing the schedule and meeting the curriculum standards that the schools might need. And they're slowly expanding, working with different collaborators to expand their network and reach audiences. And I watched their little video and it was pretty fun. They've got some props going on and some backdrops to help them tell their story through music. It's clear they have high caliber artists participating in programming and also thinking about the diversity of the artists that they select. And they are reaching early childhood audiences, which is a group that not a lot of us reach, and also low-income children and rural children. And their story selection also really focused on values around idea themes. And they're being thoughtful about how their presentation is welcoming and appropriate for different audiences. They might also think about different outreach and promotion to reach new audiences. Since they're a pretty young organization, they do a thorough plan for surveying their audience members. So they might think about collecting feedback from community partners they work with as well, and also the artists they work with. I didn't see that. I also thought that their Facebook was really engaging and had this equitable, inclusive feel to it. So I'd really love to see that as well on their website. And then as far as the project management goes, it seems like they had some qualified and experienced managers. The budget seemed reasonable. And the timeline was very well thought out, but they did miss some information about where evaluation and feedback would fit into the project timeline.
Great, thank you, Megan. Bill Pilot is the second reader. Bill?
Thank you, thank you. I thought this was a very intriguing proposal, a very interesting one. My only request, I guess, would be is how do we get this to more of Region 8? I have to believe that there are organizations and schools that would find this a great program. And so sort of when I was looking at sort of their outreach and their marketing, my questions kind of became a little bit around sort of, is it a matter of having the right connections also, or is it a question of how much capacity does the artistic team have to do events around the area? Because you know, again, what I saw in the quality of the performance and the videos and sort of kind of the opportunity to expose kids to instruments and songs and the stories, I thought was a really neat program. It's just a matter of, to me, kind of a question of reach. Like, how do we reach more?
Thank you, Bill. Are there additional comments or opposing views from other panelists?
I'd like to give them credit for expanding their collaborations. They mentioned that, I believe it's this year, they're starting a partnership with Stone Belt so that they can not only expand their audience, but like include them in this. And I just, that seemed like a very effective collaboration to build, and one I wouldn't have necessarily expected. So that was nice.
Thank you, Sarah. Anyone else? If not, then please finalize your scores and update your online comments. All right, we'll move on to the last applicant. Let Music Speak. And Sarah, you are the only reader this morning.
Oops, had to unmute. All right, for artistic quality of this application, this proposal, I like that they were mindful of diversity and equity in the selection of their musical performers. My own note here, I starred this one, apparently it's very important to me. They used the feedback from last year's festival to plan some new things, like one night featuring old time and bluegrass and gospel music. And they also mentioned that feedback from their prior festivals has led them to, they're going to be implementing a tent to shade their audience this year. So that's really great in how they showed us that not only they gather some information and feedback from their audience, but that they take it seriously and put it to good use. So I like their juried artist selection process. And I wanted to give them credit. Their promotional material actually was really surprising to me, because I'm not used to seeing arts projects use data the way that the research programs I normally administer do. They had a really great little poster where they had beautiful photos of their, festival. And then they included data that's relevant and attractive to kind of help sell it, promote it, and inform us. And that was really nice. Like, one of the notes on it was that attendees came from 73 cities in 15 states, and that there were 2,700 attendees recently. That's really great informative data. And so that was good to see. For community engagement, their organizational advisory and volunteer team seemed like a very smart kind of panel to have throughout their process. And their emailed and in-person surveys, and they welcomed ideas through their website. This just seemed like their project management planning process seemed to truly care about taking feedback and making the project better every year. And even to the point of talking about the community health, and not like medical health, but like arts as a way of promoting health and connection in the community. It just was a very well thought, heartwarming proposal. And I always love reading this one.
Thank you, Sarah. Any additional new or opposing comments from other panelists?
I thought they're, oh, go ahead, Bill.
Just one thought. I would have loved to learn more about sort of the full team that puts this on. There was a bio for the leadership, but I would love to have learned more about the full team, where they come from and the background. I agree with the data, so it just kind of made me curious, sort of like, who is this team and how do they do what they do?
Thank you, Bill. Another?
This is Megan, and I just wanted to share that I thought their website was a great example that was very mission focused and presented sort of their vision and goals around idea work.
Wonderful, thank you. Anything else? If not, please finalize your scores and update your comments. That was the final proposal of the morning. So this concludes the Indiana Arts Commission Region 8 Arts Project Support Panel. Applicants will be notified of the status of their grant following all statewide following all statewide grant application scores analyzed by the Indiana Arts Commission staff. If you have any questions, please contact your Region 8 Arts partner, Larry Peugeot. Thank you all very much.